He never asked her name. He never asked why a young soldier carrying a newborn showed up every dawn with swollen eyes and quiet fear. Single dad Janitor Mark just held the door open every morning, handed her warm coffee he paid for himself, and whispered, "You're doing great." He thought she was just another struggling service member. What he didn't know was that she was the Admiral's daughter, hiding from the one man powerful enough to destroy the only kindness she had left. And the day the infant slipped from her shaking arms, the truth shattered everything Mark believed about loyalty, sacrifice, and what it means to protect someone who isn't yours. This is the story of how one ordinary janitor changed 2 lives, and how those 2 lives changed his forever. Mark Reynolds moved like a shadow through the naval base corridors long before the sun even considered rising. He was a single dad, a man used to quiet grief and silent battles, the kind of man who learned the hard way that being strong wasn't about muscles. It was about showing up every day, even when your heart was broken. After losing his wife to illness, raising his son alone and working night shifts became his new normal. But he never complained. He had learned that kindness was free, and sometimes free things saved lives. The first time he saw the young soldier, she looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her uniform was wrinkled, her hair rushed, her eyes red. She carried a tiny baby against her chest, wrapped in a blanket much too thin for the cold morning. She tried to juggle her duffel bag, the infant, a folder of paperwork, and a bottle that kept rolling out of her pocket. Mark didn't think. He just walked over, opened the door for her, and said softly, "You're doing great, soldier." She froze. It had been a long time since anyone told her she was doing anything right. Her name was Sarah, though she didn't say it that day. She kept her gaze down, thanked him, and hurried inside. But the next morning she was there again. So was Mark. And he noticed the way she hugged the baby tighter when she passed officers, as if afraid someone would take him away. He noticed the way she trembled every time she checked her watch. The way she avoided eye contact. The way she flinched at loud voices. He didn't know her story, but he didn't need to. He just started bringing an extra cup of hot coffee. The kind with sugar and cream, the kind tired young moms always needed. She accepted it with a whisper of thanks, and her eyes softened for the first time. And then the next day, and the next, until giving her coffee became part of his morning ritual. One morning, though, she was late, much later than usual. Mark lingered by the door, pretending to wipe a window that didn't need wiping. He told himself he wasn't worried, but when she finally arrived running, breathless, clutching her crying baby, he saw panic carved into every line of her face. Her hands shook so much she could barely hold the bottle. Mark took the baby gently from her arms, rocking him with a practiced ease. "You're safe," he whispered, though he wasn't sure she was. She watched him, eyes glassy, as if the simple act of someone helping her was something foreign, something she didn't deserve. That was the morning she finally spoke. "My father, he can't know about him." Mark didn't know who her father was. But he saw real fear in her voice, the kind that doesn't come from rules or discipline, it comes from power. Unchecked power. He didn't press. He simply nodded. "Then he won't," he promised. And for the first time, she believed someone. Weeks passed, and Mark became the quiet protector she didn't know she needed. He gave her a place to breathe between her nightmares. He made her laugh on mornings she thought she would break. He brought blankets when the baby's tiny hands shivered. He fixed a loose stroller wheel with duct tape and a prayer. But most importantly, he gave her a reminder of humanity in a world that had demanded too much from her. Yet something changed one morning. The base was buzzing. Officers marched faster, voices were louder, everything felt heavier. "The Admiral's arriving today," a sailor whispered. "Apparently his daughter's been missing for weeks." Mark didn't care for gossip, but those words made his chest tighten. He turned toward the door just as Sarah rushed in carrying the baby. Her face was pale, her breathing sharp, every step shaky. "Mark, I need your help," she whispered, gripping his sleeve. "Please! I didn't want this. I was trying to come clean, but now he's here." If he sees my baby, he'll take him. He'll say I'm unfit. He'll punish me. He always has. Only then did the truth hit Mark like a punch. She wasn't hiding from some ordinary officer. She was hiding from the Admiral. The man who controlled half the base. The man everyone feared. And she was his daughter. Before Mark could speak, the baby slipped. Sarah's trembling hand missed the strap. The child began to fall. Mark caught him midair. The look on Sarah's face, pure terror melting into relief, was something Mark would never forget. He held the baby close, steadying her with his other arm. "You're not alone anymore," he said firmly. But then a voice thundered down the hallway. "Sarah!" The Admiral himself turned the corner. Metals gleaming. Shoulders broad. Eyes sharp as blades. And there was Mark, a janitor with a mop in one hand and the Admiral's secret grandson in the other. The Admiral stared, stunned, speechless. Not at Sarah. Not at the baby. But at Mark. Because behind his shock was recognition. And the truth Mark had never shared, the truth he hoped would stay buried, was about to rip open the entire base. What the Admiral said next would decide all their fates.